Welcome back, everyone. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yes, we were on the wrong server. It'll be a no-fault restart for everybody. Unfortunately, it's just the way Exit Lag does like to do things sometimes. But considering the fact that we were actually selected to auto as far as Ranger's exit lag was set, we had the potential to either be put on SG or OCE servers. Now, if you do hard set it to Sydney, you will always be brought to Sydney. And I'm unsure as to why he has auto set it, but I'm sure there is a good reason. However, we are on the correct servers this time around, OCE, that is so. Ranger will now be looking over towards main to try and find his first chase, and hopefully we can have a good first chase from Reactor straight off the rip. Having versed them myself, I know these guys are very well versed in their Oni sets. They do tend to have pretty good first chases, but maybe Ranger can just capitalize. As we do traverse over towards the bottom of the map, we see Prada here ready to take chase over towards main. We do see our Nia just stealthing around 1 to 2 area. Prada's very happy to just kind of hold that check spot and play around the window there. As we have preemptively left all the way down into 9, we do break the door to close in the distance over towards our survivor, our selected for chase, which is Prada, and he does have some nice RNG to be working with, but has opted to greet everything entirely and has to play a very short part of this filler pallet, long wall jungle gym. He does not get swung through the pallet there. My oh my, and after that stun, we've bought distance all the way down into the middle of the map where we have access to a filler just laid out nicely for us. We have access to this car pallet. We've opted to greet everything in our line of sight, in our vision. There goes the window vault. Does he have life to be working with? No, because I do believe Oni is on tier 4 these days, so he does not have life. He has balance, landing only to be worried about. And after that failed pre-drop off the pallet there, we are just going to be running back into Ranger and sacrificing all of our distance. That is a very weird play. Hang on a second. I've seen 2 very weird passages of play in the span of only 10 seconds. We have missed 2 swings and vaulted his love embracing the killer. Prada, you need to be just a little bit more vigilant than that. We've took our eyes off the window and off the path, and we've just ran into the corner of the window. That's going to spell the first down for Ranger, which it really shouldn't have, because we missed 2 swings where we gave up so much distance. There was just too much panic on both sides there, Tavi.
I think Nyx just got the worst of both worlds with the Prada got the worst of both worlds with that chase. It was going good until this filler, and okay, it's understandable that the injury would be given up, but then instead of taking the distance towards somewhere that could have been played safer, like the main building, he just stayed around and got 2-tapped. And now Ranger can just stay around this area, hold the power, maybe even just fully camp this out. And it's going to be extremely difficult for a survivor to safely come in and rescue without giving away their position and possibly giving Ranger another down, which would be like the worst possible situation for the survivors. But at the moment, they're still chilling. They got 1 gen done for the first chase, so it's still all right progress in terms of the generators. Again, though, having the hook with a full power, even with no injuries on the map, does mean Ranger is in a prime position to apply ghost pressure, just holding the power. As you can see, he's just holding the power, scaring survivors into being passive by just looking at them with the demon dash available. And I think this just means that second state will be secured and our survivors can't really do anything about it. In a bit, though, they will realize that Ranger does have the Fang, which gives them duration of the demon dash, which means you can pretty much fully camp out a hook, but he's actually opting to leave the hook for the time being, so he might not be able to interrupt this, but he's probably going to go right back. So this chase, I think, has to last for quite a while, Hunter, if our survivors want to start getting those gens repaired.
He's waiting for the cross point as well to go and get his tunnel out, and he does spot out Prada, who has hit the second stage, which is our tunnel out. Does still have his power in hand, but has opted to just not even use it, just try to down them with the M1, which can prove to be detrimental, but it can really pay off if we do manage to get this down pretty quickly. Prada now forced to use the window over at 5 with no pallet to his disposal, will be just going down before making anything, trying to go for a little bit of a cheeky pallet save, but no, that'll just be him out of the game, and a tunnel out at 3 generators remaining. Problems for our survivor team, especially with the Oni having power in hand right now, playing extra safe with it, and I do like that play. It is very risk to reward, considering if you do chase your tunnel out for a little bit too long, you're just kind of forced and stuck to actually down them at some point. And if the chase, like I said, lasts too long, our survivors can just crank in the background and potentially even pop gens in front of our face, regardless if we pop our power or not. We do see Songbird just camping up with Balance Landing, and that is the play, or at least it's the one that you anticipate happening in a set like this with Balance Landing allowed on Call Tower 1, especially as far as Oni goes. Ranga swinging off the ledge there, just trying to, you know, get his eruption kicks in now and take the game as slow as possible. So he is in control after having one survivor out of the trial this early on. Renato just stealthing off the gens here, and they are in a little bit of a cluster. We were forced to work the gens over here towards more 7 and 8. 8 still not sorry, yeah, what is that? Yeah, 7 and 8. So 8 still not popped. It is about halfway progressed. 7 already done. We are working 1 and we're playing extra safe, just trying to stealth around the rock there because we don't have a get out of jail free card. We do need to win a stun if we are to make a way at last second as far as our Renato goes. Ranga deciding to check main as well, really trying to sniff somebody out, but the boys are playing extra safe with their stealth work, so they're playing very good amongst it. They cannot afford to be found underneath any circumstances. We do take another kick onto this mid-3 generator. We are really struggling to find one of the survivors, and it can prove to be detrimental. Surely we can just bait out somebody, and oh my god, look at that urban evasion serving us well. We're not going for the kick here, so we might just clip the back end of whoever this is. No! And we've stealthed them entirely. Biru, the stealth god behind the boxes. No, you can't make it up. And now Reese's? I don't know who this, or how do you say this name, but has been found ultimately. Now has to last around the matchstick tiles and are in a very unfavorable location. We've bonked into the whole side of 5 now. It is perfectly okay to normalize the bonk, and that's an ambitious flick, and that would have really set us up for success if we did manage to connect that. But Ranga now really struggling with the mechanics of this killer. He's trying to play safe around the corners, but our Renato's not letting him get the hit easy. He's just playing the long side and can use the pallet, or why not even just the window. I'll tell you why, because you're going down straight after it, buddy. Probably should have used the pallet and tried to backvault and force the break on the pallet, where you can just emerge unscathed from after just the power taking precedence of the pallet. So, you know what? Didn't want to risk it. He tried to play cheeky for the window and got caught with his pants down. What can you do? But we're going to be going for a hook here, which will negate the progress over at 1 a little bit because of the pain resonance we have been allocated. Not too much blood left on the map, and I can't tell what the gorge is like. I would anticipate it's about halfway, 40%, somewhere around there. As far like we do have Fang in our back pocket and we have Crutch, so that's where it's eluding me to think. I'm not too sure. I'm just making complete guesses and could potentially be talking out my butt. But we do have Biru in chase now over at Shack, and that forces our other survivor to go for the pull wall. Or does it? Maybe we just play extra patient and just go for the progress over at main. The killer doesn't have power. If the killer had power, this would be worrisome, 110% Tavi. But we're so safe without power and balance landing at main that it's just not even funny.
I agree with that. This is, I think, one of the ways back for survivors. They made what I would think is quite an incredible recovery from that tunnel out of 3. They managed to pop an entire generator for that death, and they managed to also put a lot of pressure on the other topside generator at 1. But I just don't think they've like got enough compensation. Like it's better than the tunnel out of 3, but now it's still sort of hard to attack the gens, especially with one person who's pretty much always going to be incapacitated, whether it just be on hook or in chase. Ranga's always going to absorb blood for them. I think I would also guess that the power's around 60% now. And yeah, it's just a very slow game for our survivors. Ranga can take a little bit more time, knowing that the survivors are in a bit of a disadvantageous position. But he still also needs to put on the pressure too, because if he just leaves us for survivors for too long, they're just going to reset. Boom, there we go. Heading straight to the bottom side to interrupt this reset. And if that reset does happen, then technically Ranga might just end up having to wait the passive recharge of the Demon Fury and then picking up a Blood Orb to activate the power, because there really just isn't enough blood on the map to secure an immediate power. So yeah, this is, I think, where this is kind of one of the most critical points in the game. Ranga needs to either get power via a tag or by committing bottom side, and in this time, maybe a generator pops, maybe some incredible play happens, but it seems like not really. The survivors just took the time to rotate around the map. And this is a very similar position to one that we had around 5 minutes ago, except this time we have one survivor who is on death hook, and one generator popped for that. I think Nyx have just done an incredible job stealthing. Okay, just as I say, that Songbird will be found around the main, but does have some resources left available on this top side. You don't really want to be going down here though, because this is the generator setup, and we're getting flicked around the trash pallet. I'm not really sure if they can get another gen down, but this beautiful stealthing still coming through by our survivors. Ranga is just not really on top of most of the stealthing positions, and I feel like that is the one thing, maybe another resource for them if they want to get back into this trial. Oh my gosh, Ranga nearly hits that, but maybe a little bit too ambitious there.
Maybe. I mean, still playing extra well. Pre-drop of the shack pallet too to maintain the safeness. So Rangar now is going back for his slug because he wants to save a little bit more power, since it may be a little bit difficult for him to get it back in the long run. That's another very ambitious flick. Not quite connecting that one at all. Getting stunned as well. No smash hit in hand, only balanced landing to be working with, but we're exhausted anyway with no place to use it, and that's all of our power gone. If we manage to heal our near up in time, there is nowhere near enough blood on the map to acquire power again. We have to play the long run game and try to get our passive build up up and running. So Rursy's just losing that 50, but ultimately winning it again, and does win the pallet there. That's crazy stuff. And Songbird going for the gen pressure, not opting to get reset here. That's a nice little double back there by Rangar to be able to spell the tag onto our Renato. But Songbird in the background do believe he gets that middle generator done in front of our killer's face, and it does not matter that we're leaking blood all over the place. Do we even have enough to get power? No, we do not. And I was thinking that was the case, but we do have 2 survivors that are currently injured as it stands. All in the meantime, look at the Coal Tower 3 gen. With power in hand, the Coal Tower 3 gen and Eruption at your disposal with 2 injured survivors on the board and 1 going down and being hooked. It's just GG 4K1 at this point. So what do the survivors have to do in this scenario? Outlast the power, and that's going to be absolutely a tall order. Like, you put it the best way you probably could by describing that. And no, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to you in the audience, because I know you're thinking the exact same. It's just chopped chicken cheese from here on out. So Rangar just swinging off the ledge of the main there, trying to really get sight on one of these stealthing survivors over towards bottom half. He knows they're going to be making their cross point. I'm surprised he actually didn't see Songbird there poke his head out for just a moment. So again, parking up the bus and doesn't have to move, power in hand. You're pretty much just chilling. You don't really need to do too much work. It's kind of all laid out for you just with the way the game has panned out. We see the scratch marks, we bamboozle the window, power goes pop, and there's nothing to be working with. Just a couple lockers, some line of sight breakage, and a dream. Rangar going for a crazy flick and does hit it very nicely. Songbird stealthed up, ready to pick up Rangar for when our killer decides to leave. About 60% left on the gorge, I would assume, granted of the add-ons that we have been allocated or that we have chosen to bring into the trial. Songbird around the generators, and we have been spotted out, and that will be the 4K1 solidified. Wow.
Yeah, what a crazy turn of events. Our survivors got the first tunnel out of 3 generators. They managed to pop 2, but everything fell apart pretty much at that point. I think Rangar should still be pretty happy about this result. Of course, this is quite a bit of ping involved between these 2 teams, so maybe it was actually better. Maybe it was a lot better if the restart happened for it, because you have to play what you've got, and unfortunately Prada's chase was just a little bit too short to end the trial. So loading into the second half here is, of course, going to be Diamond Dogs on the survivors, chasing a 4K0 for the first set win. But Prada's actually changed up 1 perk here on the killer, and he's actually brought the Wretched Fate over Bamboozle or Brutal. So I'm not a big fan of Wretched Fate on non-S tiers, but on Oni I think it makes a lot more sense, because you don't have any payoff perks for the survivors for anti-totems, so there's no risk of inner strength. But then you also, as the Obsession, there's no way you're going to go in for any altruistic play. So actually, I think this perk pick. I've not seen this before very often on the lower tiers. I think this one might do some wonders for Mr. Prada.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're going to be following up here with the first chase. I think the fact of not bringing in a comfort perk like Bamboozle or Brutal, like you were mentioning before, Tavi, is the fact that we're on ping. So maybe he's just going to walk everything down and just, you know, power it. There's the Bloodlust. Look at this. He doesn't like, Promo doesn't make anything from here on out. And that is, you know, an acceptable tag. You know, for the chase, it's definitely setting ourselves up for the first generator in the trial to proc. But Prada doing the smart thing, deciding to leave. Now, he can't wait. All three of us are here. That's a big no-no. Okay, I'm wondering why that is the case. We do manage to kick the gen, and I'm just trying to get grasp of why we have decided to do so. But that doesn't matter. Going into more recent events, we are trying to find out somebody close within this vicinity. We do see two survivors who had rotated off into the middle of the map. Promo just hiding out in a locker right now. I'm not quite too sure what the game plan is here for the survivors, but I think they'll want to start playing for that generator there over at 9 and hopefully getting that done as quickly as possible. But we're chasing in the uncorrupted zone, even though this is Shack in safe. It is amongst the bottom side of the map, and if you do spot out our uncorrupted gens, that's where everything is. So we do have power. Pop goes the weasel, and then I use that term not in the terms of the perk. I use it as a metaphor, but we do see Ranger here, who is our next chase with the power in hand. That's going to be a nice little stun that's going to buy us some distance if we do need to do so. We have some crap tiles here, 4 walls, and that really weird 4 walls with the window, but we managed to stealth out Prada, and we've seen him kind of lose his footing a little bit in his other Oni games. Even though as good as he is, he does tend to spiral a little bit sometimes. Our survivors have full stealthed out the power. He really had to commit Ranger there. Wait a second, we do hear the survivor, oh my god, the head on to save our brethren. Supersaurus, the man himself, going for a little bit of jiggy off the rocks, and does he make again? Oh no, we've been flicked around a little bit of a half wall, and we're still leaking blood all over the place after this power is gone. Promo, that is, over at 5, so you want to get him reset nice and early. Potentially a pain resonance coming on in. We're really trying to break that 3 gen over at top side, which I don't hate. That is probably the ideal place, especially if our Quinton is balance landing. He is not, so if he's found in an unsavory position, this can prove to be troublesome. Prada now is going to be rotating to where that reset is happening. He's really sniffing them out. He knows they're in this area per se. There's a little bit of blood, but I don't quite think that's where they're resetting. They might potentially be over at 5, and that is the case. Is that bites the bullet? I'm not quite too sure what that perk was. I didn't hear any grunts of pain. No, it wasn't. I'm just deaf. Okay, that's fine. But we also find Promo again, and the reset was all for naught, as we had been caught over at 5, but we're still able to work that main generator there. Now we catch on to the fact there will be somebody rotating for the save, and with power in hand, with the power pop, we're able to get the pull for free because the hill is facing the incorrect way for our killer. But that leaves Ranger in a state of being honestly exposed to the Oni's one hit down. And oh my god, we've hit the boxes because we tried to do it preemptively, trying to dodge the survivor, trying to take a hit with the endurance status effect. Is this our tunnel out? It is Promo that we're chasing now. Oh, it's not a tunnel out, but it's an injured survivor, Promo, who has just made the window by the skin of his teeth, and we've bumped into a whole lot of nothing. Now, Prada really has to calm down a little bit here. Can't be too ambitious with the flicks. Really has to just recollect himself and just down Supersaurus at this point, because he's lost everybody who is healthy. Off the generators is Ranger. On that generator, still over at main, is Philly Fry. Promo straight back on over at 5. He's still injured at the moment. There goes main done. We can pull it back, I think, to the 4K1 at the very least. I think it's unlikely that we'll be able to hold on to the generators from this point forward, given the fact that actually, considering this is the tunnel out, we need to make this quick. We need to capitalize on that. We need to press the survivors off the generator, all while simultaneously maintaining the hook pressure. So it would be advantageous for our killer if we do manage to get power somehow, some way. Now, we know Promo's been leaking blood all over the place, but I don't think it's enough to get the power that we need. That's a lot of blood over at the gen, but with how long it took us to get that down, yeah, it's just not enough. And you can only hope that Promo's not going to be getting reset anytime soon. We're really following the blood trail here, which allows Renger to get the pull for free. One also being worked, so we'll probably kick that. We do have power in hands now, and this will aid us in getting our tunnel out nice and quickly, but we need to capitalize Tavi, and we need to make this down quick.
I'm actually quite grateful that both of us are fairly experienced in Oni sets, because we would not have been able to really tell how much blood Oni has towards the Demon Dash. By the way, that Super Soul is dropping Shank at 3 gen, so you give him a minus rep if you want. But yeah, there's still the UI bug coming around, so we're just taking our best guesses. And our best guess is that maybe Super Source has a good chance of running out this power. Wow, that's 2 pilots dropped, 2 safely unzoning kind of... Oh, okay, he just goes into basement though. So I think he's accepting his death, but that was still an alright chase to finish it out. Again, remember this is ping, and it is an Oni in power, so it's very difficult to get away. So although this death comes through, I think it's fairly fine for our survivors. Philly does get the gen done. Important to note also that Promo cleansed the Wretched Fate earlier on in the trial when they were around that matchstick. So well, I was honestly wondering why Promo was there, and it's because Wretched Fate was gone, so it allowed Philly to work that generator with max efficiency. And now with these with the one generator done by Philly, there's just one generator left between this between Diamond Dogs and the tie condition, which seems pretty good. But Promo's actually, that generator on 5 is very high progress, so if something doesn't happen soon, I think Prada will just lose it and have to try and play out for the tie at the minimum. So that's the generator popping in the background. That was actually not 5, it was around the top side. And yeah, Prada has to try their best now to prevent any generator from popping from this position. So I would say this is probably where it gets interesting in the trial, because number 1, it's a 3v1. Number 2, it's like our survivors kind of dictate the pace of the play, but then Prada's also got a good amount of pressure with that injury. And having found Philly Fire as well around this generator, there is maybe a potential of getting attacked early. He's opting to leave though, and I would assume someone around main. What's going on here? Is there
they're doubling? They're doubling over at 8, and he bit into the, or they were doubling over at 8, and he bit into the chase over at Philly Fry. He needed to leave and just protect his generators, but at least with the diversion over at the corner of 11, he's able to get power and potentially get the down onto Ranger. We know in the background Philly Fry would be working over at 4 to 5 area. Ranger gets the smash hit stun, beautiful stuff, is able to make the middle of the map, and Prada doesn't want any of it. But this is where it gets tricky, because if he does leave, he has the potential to be stealthed out for his power. Now he goes all the way down into 4, and hopefully he can find Philly Fry within this vicinity, but I don't think that will be the case. I think he will out stealth the power. He is just over into the middle of 5. We're still really looking for him in lockers even, and we're getting a little bit panicky. The power is running out. He really needs to find someone now. I think he had to commit to Ranger at that point. The reset happening over at 10 even, and we've just stopped and put everything to a halt. He is getting close to that reset. He sees the scratch marks here, needs it down and needs it quick. Let's go for the flick, ambitious. And I dare say after a flick like that, he is probably very close to losing his power. Or is he? Or am I sorely mistaken? Breaking the pallet there. Surely it runs out now. No, still has enough to be working with. No, he doesn't. He tried to charge up the very last second, and it did not work out in his favor. All in the meantime, we have pressure from 2 different angles, and it doesn't matter which one we go to, because we will lose a generator either way. The survivors have done very well to capitalize on this scenario here. Prada over at 7, sniffing out. Doesn't matter if he gets power. Adrenaline to fully heal Promo. I don't think there's enough blood on the map to really be working with to get his power back in time. He is checking the gate over at 8, but nobody there. Promo has already left and gone far, far, far away. Somewhere in a different galaxy, far, far away. So he does pre-drop the pallet here over at 10 and does win the 50, can use the window, but loses that one and ultimately gets tagged through it. There's the power that we needed to at least get the remaining stages onto Promo, because as it currently stands, we only have 3 to show for it with 1 fresh, and then hopefully we can pull it back to a 6-2 if I don't know if we're lucky enough, but I don't think that will be the case, as we do go back all the way down into Ranger, and he has just ran into the exit gate and blocked all of his distance, and he's given a little bit of notice because he knows that happens. I think he was trying to dodge the Oni's power, and all credit to him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but you know, it does make for a funny clip. I won't lie. Regardless, getting the power here and just trying to sniff out the remaining survivors in this trial, it would be it would help the killer if we were able to get power from this position, but with the amount of blood, the amount of time it took us to get that down, I don't think that will be the case. I think we're only about 80% on the gorge. That's me putting my money where my mouth is. But honestly, I'd probably lose it if that was a real bet. Regardless, we are going to be following up here after the pool, and then why not go for the hatch? Philly Fry does say for the 4 stages. So Diamond Dogs have done very, very well in this instance, despite losing the main man Gibbsy from last season. They are putting.
We just saw Diamond Dogs take away the first set. That was a fairly convincing win, actually. It was 4k1 for Ranger on the killer versus Prada's 4-stage result. So pretty big difference in the results. However, the Dark Lord is where, of course, Reactor can turn things around in this series. If it does come to it, there is the tiebreaker of Mastermind, but maybe it won't come to that. We'll see how Diamond Dogs does, because they have to play Survivor again. They actually did change the lineup just a little bit. We do find Spacey in this, and also, I believe that's Burrito. Sorry, I was not really looking too hard in the character selection screen. But yeah, Hunter, I think Dark Lord, as I was saying before, completely different beast from the Oni. Snowball potential, I guess, is similar. Hook trading is similar, but the gameplay is completely different. And if Prada has an opportunity to come back in this series, it's got to be right now.
Well, we got a ranged attack this time around and 3 different forms to be worrying about. So you're definitely played different as Prada does cover his ground here. Really sniffing out over at 9, but doesn't find anything. Has to go back to main. And there goes the bat form and whatnot straight back to the window. Not too sure if we've spotted anybody out here, but we hear some progress around 2, and it does seem to be our Jake just kind of preemptively leaving, who is Spacey. And that's important to note, is we've rotated 2 survivors for 2 new ones in the team, which are, 2 new additions, Spacey and Beanie. Last match you saw Promo and Philly Fry, so, you know, shaking it up a little bit and giving the other boys a go, so love to see it. Do have back in bat form Prada. He's really trying to struggle to find this first chase, but as I say, that caster's curse, we're going to be seeing the scratch marks here go into the deep portion of 12, where we do greet the pallet effectively, and that allows us to use the dumpster filler without a worry in the world. Now, I'm the king of knowing that this pallet here can be very dangerous if played incorrectly, because I got egregiously 2-tapped last season, if we haven't seen it already. Regardless, I'm going to stop talking about myself and go back into more recent matters, where we have our Ace and Shades Supersaurus taking the first chase of the trial around 12 and evaded the tag very nicely, so did not play the dumpster the way that I played it, thank the Lord, but he does manage to evade the tag as well, and Prada's just kind of crumbling underneath the pressure. Still no tag, and with no resource at our disposal. Well, I say that, and there was the little bit of a filler pallet there, but we're just able to take that tag and make our way all the way down into 9, where when we know there's nobody working this generator here. So it's a safe place to take chase. We're trying to use that balance proc there, and we do so very nicely. Supersaurus putting on the jets. On your bike, mate. He is going to the corner of 1 and is just made away from all kinds of danger. Now Prada forced to play around the rock, and we see the first generator in the trial proc in the distance over towards 7 and 5 ready to go as well. Do we make the pain resonance in time? I think we do, because of Retrofade. Yes, we do. Amazing stuff. But we're going to be going all the way down to 5 again to try and press that survivor off the generator plate. I do think we're going to be playing fast on the pool. We're going for a little bit of a double here, and this can prove to be the wrong kind of play, considering Prada can get as a sight both on our Jake and our 11 there, Beanie. But we've made a way just in time to do the little bit of a split up and into safe for locations, as opposed to just stealthing out to trying not to be found. So top tier stuff from Diamond Dogs, but Prada now back on the case for his tunnel out. Where did they go? Can't really see it. He's getting a little bit disoriented in scratch marks that aren't his tunnel outs, but eventually does kind of catch up with Supersaurus here, who has tried to use a dead hard and ultimately failed. No, and that's something you hate to see, as he doesn't have a pallet at his disposal. He is going to be going down just before the worst pallet in the Az's maps. Oh, the Retrofade is going to be worked on as well, so that will be that 33% regression gone. Yeah, look, it is looking a little bit dicey for our killer. He can come back from this. The Survivor's really on the front foot, though.
Think that Super Swords had an excellent first chase. That chase lasted. I remember the statistics from me doing some sheets a while ago for a different tournament. It was like at 45 seconds longer. That is an incredible amount of time on the gens, and we see it on the progress on the UI. Unfortunately, Super Swords' next chase was a little bit shorter, but it will not really affect the the pace of the trial, which I'd completely agree. The survivors are in control of this. It probably will just keep somebody around here maybe to go in, but the UI, I guess, the UI says that I'm lying and there's nobody around this area as the second gen of the pop. Second gen of the pop. Oh, ugh. Second gen of the trial pops. Yeah, they just still got a lot of pressure for this. Even if Super Swords does perish away very soon, it is perhaps a little bit of trouble for Prada when it comes to what they can defend, what's left on this map left to defend. Interesting to note though, Super Swords actually dies on hook here, so they're giving away the death, which is fine, but they haven't popped a gen for it. They popped like one generator equivalent of progress, but not really popped the generator. So if Prada gets a quick 2-tap, maybe you can capitalize off the eruption. By the way, there's a bit of a bug here. Thankfully, it did fix itself. If he can get a quick down and a 2-tap, this tempo of this trial could suddenly change into something that is more favored to Prada, and they're actually gonna seek out a survivor here. I think the walking was not enough for Spacey. He's gonna get found, but I think the gens are popping in the distance, and he's completely safe. We'll make that pallet vault just in time. So there's generator number 3 of the trial. He's also got the overcome to work with, so I think Spacey should be fairly comfortable around this area to last while the generators pop onto. Yeah, look at that progress. That's just amazing.
Ooh, and the stun too to top it all off. They're just playing out of their mind right now, despite them losing a survivor. Prada really trying to bite down on that pallet just before the hit, but does not quite get it, unfortunately. Goes back into the bat form and is trying to interrupt too, but it does pop in front of him. So we are going to be trying to close in the distance onto whoever this is. It is Beanie, who does not make it back over the pallet even with finesse, and just we're biting him in the process with life in hand. Is able to make just a crazy amount of distance back into 4, where hopefully there's not that gen being worked, and I don't think there is. It leads me to believe that it's not being worked. Double vaulting that 2 to evade the next dash from Prada, and we do manage to get that gen done over at bottom as well. So it is looking extremely likely that we can pull at least 6 stages here, potentially even 3 if we can manage to get Beanie out of the trial as well without a down. So he does still have Shaq to be working with. Prada back in the bat forms, really trying to play the counterplay towards our survivor, but we've just emerged from the wrong side of the pallet. Breaking it as well. Prada's still trying to follow up onto our injured survivor, and Beanie's just playing for his life, having an absolutely incredible chase right now. Does go into the middle of the map where we have to force the bite on to Spacey. Spacey is now ventured off into the other exit gate if it is open. We are pre-dropping it, and we still want Beanie. We don't want Spacey, even though they're worth the same amount of points. Oh my god, and a nice little Hellfire there to spell the end of Beanie. That will be him out of the trial now. That will spell 6 stages, 2 fresh series. Now it is going to be Ranger for Diamond Dogs on the Dark Lord, on Wretched Shop, the Survivor team, Semipro, which we've been referring to Reactor throughout the entire game. We do apologize. They were known as Reactor back in Season 5. They are Semipro right now. It's going to be Prada, Biru, Reese's, and Songbird. So, you know, just the exact same guys from last time around, and just running it back for the second time. Now, Ranger is pretty well versed on the Dark Lord, and we've seen him put up good results before, so he definitely well and truly is capable of reaching his 7-stage win condition. He's going to be using his Lapis straight to the outside window of main, just trying to take control of the middle of the map there, where we do find our first chase of the match way quicker than the first time around last time. So it's going to be Jake in chase now, Reese's, and we are potentially going to catch out I think that's Beeru on the Steve, because he usually likes to play the Steve. And yeah, Sprint Burst does save him, but we get swingy through that pallet, and nice stuff from Ranga to be able to get that tag and run around to the little side of the rock here, where we do manage to just greed and try to make a way down into 8, but the rock too strong, and he's definitely been in the lab with Nolsey to know that that's something you can hit over. No, he just picked that up on his own, I swear. Just by playing the killer, you just kind of realize where you cannot use the Hellfire and whatnot. So we are going to go for that Pain Resonance very soon off the hook, and I'm being informed by our match official, who shocker is Nolsey, telling us that yes, he is the one who taught him that, and I had a feeling because I've seen Nolsey teach it to me before. But regardless, Ranga now just trying to take chase here over at 6, has immense pressure to be working with. Ruin even in this trial to tank the gens, and that's the effect of not bringing in Wretched Fate. So you know, Wretched Fate just isn't really the best perk to be running. I understand the appeal and whatnot, because 33% does sound like a lot, but in this, and you don't risk the totem being broken straight off the rip like you do Ruin, but on the off chance that Ruin stays in the trial, look at the kind of game you can put forward. I mean, a down, a hook, no gen progress, everything regressing with the fact of we don't have to kick the gens to regress them. We can kind of just go back and forth and go, oh, you're off the gen, and it starts regressing. Oh, you're off the gen, and it starts regressing. So back in that power position, Ranga just really trying to force that second stage onto Beeru here, so he's not going to be unhooked anytime soon. Hellfire up to just deny the double save if we do come in for it, but with everybody injured in the trial, I don't think that will be the case. Second stage acquired, solidified if you do. Ranga is now back in the dog form and really trying to get that down onto Songbird here, so playing extra aggressive for those stages early on in the trial, and I don't necessarily hate that play, as we do take chase here over towards the middle of 5. We are going to be greeting the pallet there, trying to shoot through it, and that's definitely the Nolsey tech there. But I know a lot of top tier Dark Lord maids will know that spot well and truly. Ranga back into the Hellfire form, really trying to catch outside onto his tunnel out, which is Beeru. He doesn't really have a lot to go on here, but he does have Shaq to use, and actually 5 as well, but ultimately greeting Shaq entirely, and we're trying to play around it. Ranga being a little bit too ambitious, probably just should have opted for the zone break, but we do have the pallet gym to work with if we do manage to do so. We are trying to bait out the window there. Shaq pallet has been thrown, and that did kind of, I did kind of forget that, I can't lie, but we do manage to get the down onto Beeru. No dead hard, no nothing, no DS, none of that nonsense on the Dark Lord. Actually, dead hard, yes, no. We are going to be hooking here over at 5, and that's going to be Beeru out of the trial, but we do manage to pop the gen here by our near player, who is Songbird. 3 stages at this current moment, sorry, with 1 fresh hook. It is going to be an effort and a half to really pull this back to 5 stages here, Tavi, especially we can only afford to give up 2 for your win condition.
Can't put it in much of a better way. I honestly like using the analogy of they have to pop 3 generators for 3 hooks, like 1 generator per hook, which is very, 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 very difficult in competitive Dead by Daylight, but it is possible, just quite unlikely. And yeah, Ranga's just really capitalized on the inefficiencies of our survivors at the start of the trial. They gave away a down, which, okay, that's understandable, right? It's a down. But then past that, there were 3 injuries while our survivor was on hook chilling. And then as a result, those injuries were just led to not really much else happening except for the resets. We got 1 gen done for this, and then the second when Beeru died, but it's just, yeah, Ranga's just in a power position right now to go for any result that he chooses. It's gonna apply Eruption again to the generator, you know, classic Eruption players going for the 1% gens, but is of course the best play. Especially when the survivors are stealthing, you do find Jake here. I again somehow forgot the name, but Ranga's actually gonna miss the dash, sort of. I've never seen that before. That looked a bit strange on my end. Doesn't matter though, he gets the tag anyway, and we're back at this rock filler, so he might actually want to Hellfire this. Seems like he goes for the mind game instead. Successful there in the manipulation of camera, and he's just going to take the hook. And I just think it's going to be an impossible task and a half to try and get these generators done. Every time there's a new fresh hook that is downed, pain resonance, boom, there goes 20% of the generator. And then, you know what? Why not do that another 2 times for the survivors? And at that point, the survivors would already have lost the win condition, because the win condition is, well, the tie condition is 6-2, so 6-4 is plenty to win it. And Songbird actually manages to evade that Hellfire very, very close to landing there from Ranga, and grabs the stun too. Ranga getting reversed there in the cooldown of the transition between forms. That's a bit unfortunate, but still in a great position. Songbird should be going down just right now, and he can just secure this pain res if he wants to. So yeah, just chilling right now here in the wretched shop. Gonna acquire just one more hook, and yeah, one more hook there is until he does take away this series. 2-0 for Diamond Dogs. So yeah, well played to Ranga. I'm already saying that as if they won, but no, he played well for sure, and he exploited the mistakes from our survivors here.
Yeah, definitely. Again, just in control of everything. We do manage to find out a very injured Jake here off in the corner of 5, and obviously we are, after getting this down, honestly winning the match, because it'll be 1 on fresh hooks. So that being said, with that down happening and the hook imminently, that will be the 2-0 going to Diamond Dogs. So top tier stuff to them. Absolutely incredible. We are going to be using this pain resonance hook here, but it's not going to mean too much considering that we've already pain resonance the survivor. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter, but this is a win anyway. We definitely can steal 4K from this position, you know, 4K1, 4K2, take your pick, or even potentially 4K3 if we manage to find out our injured Nia, which we don't. It's going to be Prada just working this gen here over at 11. And we do see our injured Nia rotating for the save, which is ideal in a scenario like this, since it's not the injured one in chase. We do have 2 health states to be working with. Prada now is trying to extend his chase and just running around that short side of the rock there with the pre-dropped pallet also. So Hellfire comes up. Can we shoot through the hollow bits? And we do. Excellent stuff. Top tier A+ goes Ranga, now following up there with the dog form. Can try to get his charges in, but he's a little too far away to connect. Regardless, it does cause enough hesitation for Prada to lose all his distance and go down ultimately in the middle of main. So there goes the pick up onto Ranga. The pick up onto Prada, sorry, from Ranga, straight onto that middle hook. And again, we just find ourselves in a world full of hurt where we're really just playing for the last generator over at 5, and Ranga knows it's being worked, but he doesn't know there's 2 people on it. So he chooses to check 6 now, but ultimately going all the way down into 5, where we have our injured Nia just working and slamming that gen. We don't even get it done, and we dodge the jiggy. We should just pop the gen in front of his face, because now he just plays safe and kicks it, or potentially just even down in front of it. And now pre-dropping that pallet there on the pallet gym. Oh, we're trying to double back there, back to all the way down into 3, but it's not quite working out for us. Everything on the map is just bold, as we have used our resource, and we don't make this one over at 5. Well, we did, but we saw the stagger there, and ping-dependent throws sometimes just result in you going down straight through the pallet. So Ranga opting to pick this up, and now just going to be hooking straight in front of that generator over at 5, where I believe, yes, this survivor should be pain resonance. So there goes the stack onto 5, and we can just check all the way on the bottom half of the map without a care in the world. Prada now even rotating 4-5. Oh, it's just rinse repeat here. We're really holding on to dear life for the best possible result for Ranga, which is ideally a 4K3. He doesn't want to give up any more gens, and he's putting on a statement right now, as he does hear the grunts of pain from our Jake. There goes the 1 charge, 2 charge. Beautiful stuff. Down he goes. Our Jake Park back on the floor, picked up as well. Prada just slamming out 5, just wants to at least get the 4K2 to keep the morale up, and there it goes. He might manage to even get the pick here onto our Hook Survivor Songbird, where they are really trying to persevere and get even another generator done. With the split we've been allocated, the scenario we've been given, what's left on the map in terms of resources, I don't think this is definitely doable. So we do manage to find out Songbird here just around the crane. There goes the charge again. No, we just miss it. And we're going to be playing the window there, winning it. Ultimately, I do believe that's balanced landing, not even life. So Here we go, ring around the rosy again with the crane. Oh my god, and he's faked left and gone right. It's beautiful stuff from Ranga. Back in the dog, straight off you go. And we're really trying to look for Prada now, who's just been forced off his gen and then just trying to play for the pickup in the distance there onto our down survivor once more. Does vault the pallet here with the slowness, and Ranga looking in all the wrong spots for our last survivor, but should just probably take the pick here to just get the game on the way. Thank you very much for just making sure that we, get up and running again, because it'll put us a time on schedule for something that doesn't really matter too much, as we have met our win condition. So, and we will want to move on to the next set and value the break. So Ranga just standing on top of the hatch here, just waiting for it to spawn. Is going to have to just check his gates. He knows that, Prada definitely won't be playing for this gate. He is injured. You'll be able to hear him around this area. He's just going to be going straight into the bats there, trying to block off the window over at the crane. Does he catch line of sight? The big bubble's in our way, so probably not. I mean, he should be able to hear him from this point on, but he is just trying to catch eyes on him, and we don't see him over towards 12. Now, where did Prada go from here? He A-teched the door, and he might just make this open and escape with 2 stages at the very least, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot. He does have resilience to make it go that little bit further, and unfortunately, no, it's not going to be enough. He is just going to be going down straight after, and Ranga, once pursued by the fog in the Demogorgon set, is now pursued by the fog in the Dark Lord set. For those who know the Sir Smonk reference, but that will be our Claudette gone. That will be the 4K2 done and dusted. The 2-0 going to Diamond Dogs. Any fun?